They don't sleep well. You won't sleep well.
They should be happy that I'm even providing them eggs.
Especially in this particular
Yeah,
inflation
so
situation.
we are all in the system, so the children should manage. If you don't teach your children how to manage at this time, when will you teach them how to manage?
Indeed,
Yes,
indeed,
please.
indeed. So much happened over the weekend, and one of those particular topic of discussion or conversation over the weekend was even that of yesterday by the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, raising critical issues on how many Nigerian citizens who are actually traveling out of the country are actually brandishing our name not in a very good manner, and most especially for those who traffic drug. And one of the most beautiful aspects of all this is that the NDLEA is up to tax. The NDLEA has been able to gather so many of them, caught so many of them at that particular point of transit where they will take this drug outside the country to make illegal money, to use it to sponsor terrorism and the rest. And on our screen this morning, you see this particular one, Abraham. Look at how somebody eat this particular drug.
What is this?
These are drugs. They were eating in clothes, in textile materials for them to be able to move it. These are tramadol. These are tramadol. So you can imagine how these people go about spoiling the names of Nigerians in some of these countries. For instance, if you go to Bangladesh now, you discover that so many Nigerians are in their prison. If you go to South Africa, just yesterday I was told that one Nigerian was killed. A Nigerian was killed in the prison.
Yes, you see, like
just imagine this guy, for
young
instance.
man.
This one went viral. Now imagine what this man did under his clothes. All in the name of making money. So this is how tough the situation is.
You know, the Nigerian people are so desperate. You can imagine. Look at what he just did.
You wore the vest.
He wore the vest, but
underneath this particular one that is still wearing,
shirt,
there's another one.
Where the whole thing is. Look at. So you see, Nigerians are so desperate, or we say some Nigerians are so desperate, because looking at what is happening now. Okay, imagine this young man. If it's in Malaysia or one of the countries, this guy will be as
imagine.
Yes,
now look at this is the
main job.
This is the main one. Yes. Because everything was hidden under this cocaine, tramadol, all the counterfeit drugs. They are, just imagine. Look at how they are falling off.
Oh shit. That is so bad.
Look at how they are falling.
So bad.
So this is how bad, and I want to actually appreciate the NDLEA because they are doing a very good job to further help the country image. Imagine. So now, if this guy travels with this particular,
he will come back so big.
He will come back as a billionaire, as a millionaire.
Yes, and he will start
traumatizing the mindset of Nigerians.
Of Nigerian youth.
And at the end of the day, he said, "Look, you have to hustle.
You have to hustle." So this
is how bad it is. It's very unfortunate, but this is where we call it for this particular part of it. You've seen it. Nigerians have actually seen it. This is not the best way to make our brand Nigeria. This is not the best way to expose ourselves. And I'm very, very happy that the NDLEA is actually doing what they need to do to be able to help us, not just within the country, but even outside the country, because our image is at stake. As a result of this, I remember when we had issue with UAE, they banned Nigeria from entering the country, and that's because of what? Drugs and cultism.
Yes.
Which is not very, very good for us as a nation. So we are very, very proud of this particular agency for doing their job, and definitely there are so many issues we will definitely be looking out today to discuss. And one of them that we are going to focus on was actually what happened within last week, from the issue of the ex-queen of the Oni of Ife to the Anambra issue, and then the latest one was that of the Abuja Catholic Church in Maitama. So many unfortunate and avoidable deaths that we recorded just within last week. About 35. That's a very huge number. So we'll be on a very short break, and when we return, we'll be looking at the state of the nation with Dr. Chinoso Stanley Ndukwe this morning. And then we'll be discussing regarding this particular avoidable death that was recorded. What is actually the cause? Why are so many Nigerians rushing towards places of distribution of goods. And sometimes these things are not even more than 5,000 naira or
But
3,000
but
naira.
but it's hunger. Hunger is one thing that you cannot just play with, and that's why they said a hungry man is not just someone that can do anything. But when you're hungry, well, when you see you just talk about egg now,
Yes.
and now you said, how will my children look at it that I'm giving them a crate of egg for a
I will
chicken?
even come to that
Okay,
question
now yes.
of hunger because
Mm,
I remember a friend, he told me that he
mm,
saw some of our wealthy people also gathering for food in Saudi Arabia. But then, let's go for this break, and when we return,
okay.
you'll listen to more of this. Welcome back from that mouth break, and just before the break, definitely we had so much to discuss. Well, but for many Nigerians, you saw that particular video clip where a young man eat so many drugs just under its clothes, and the NDLA was able to get hold of him yesterday. Also in Kano, so much happened yesterday, and this morning, our conversation will be focusing on state of the nation. It's very unfortunate that yesterday we had the issue of the drug bust by the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency. And this morning we'll be having our conversation with Dr. Chinoso Stanley Ndekwe, a public affairs analyst, a social commentator, and also a researcher. This morning we'll be talking more on the state of the nation, looking at all that had happened over time. And just a few days back, we also recorded a situation where the Dangote refinery had to reduce the cost of pump price, and that of NNPC also they had to do same. So the competition is also there, and we've now started seeing that yes, to an extent, our hope or many Nigerians' hope is to see that the cost of fuel reduces as time goes on. And Doctor, good morning.
Good morning, my honorable broadcaster, Mr. Nuhu.
It's nice having you on this beautiful Monday morning in the capital city of Abuja. And I know you are abreast with the issues going on. What's your perspective this morning about how far or how well we are doing as Nigerians?
Frankly speaking, Nigerians are very, very resilient. We can see that despite the economic trajectory that President Bola Tinubu's reforms has pushed us, Nigerians are still pushing it. Nigerians are still traveling. They are still preparing for the season. Nigerians are quite solid people. They welcome the good news of the reduction in price, which is not bad, but not where we are, expected to be. Nigerians are pushing it, and we are looking forward to a much more comprehensive reform that will make the cost of living very, very affordable for Nigerians.
So in this particular case, you're also very hopeful that the new year will be a great one for many Nigerians.
We are expectant, we are hopeful. When we talk about renewed hope, we're looking at the possibilities of being able to afford food, afford transportation, being able to have jobs, being able to have a much more secure environment, an environment where life can be absolutely respected and regarded as sanctity.
Indeed, that's a very good one coming from you this morning. And over the week, we noticed that, over last week, we noticed that so many Nigerians actually died as a result of Stampede, starting from Ibadan, that's the capital city of Oyo State, down to Anambra State, and even here in the Federal Capital Territory. Most especially, when we look at a very beautiful area as Maitama, we recorded death of Nigerians, all in the name of trying to get food for their sustainability. So in this particular case, so much has happened over the years, and we've seen the president during his inaugural speech. He did mention that yes, he has removed subsidy, and that actually skyrocketed the cost of goods and service. So what's your reaction from the first point of inauguration to this particular point in time?
Frankly speaking, I have to commend the president for his boldness, for his absolute focus on making certain changes that the past governments have been unable to do. But there are some reservations as regards the major problem we have in Nigeria today. I have some reservations, and they are basically on the issue of petroleum. The presidency has not managed the petroleum sector very well. And it is a fulcrum, it is the central aspect of our existence as a nation. When energy is not properly managed, the nation will definitely sink in darkness. So this is where the major problem lies. The issue of impromptu or abrupt removal of the subsidy has been my major problem with the government. And I've been a constant campaigner of the return of the subsidy. And I must continue to tell the presidency and the president himself that you have to bring back the subsidy. Either clear the issue of transportation logistics, how to bring in the products from those who are importing it, and then subsidize those who are refining like Dangote in Nigeria to reduce the cost of our access, the cost of accessing petroleum products. Because once we normalize and get this done, our agricultural sector will be improved, our education sector will improve, transport will be improved, job creation, even our economy generally will improve. So this is the area I have been having strong reservation for the president, that he has to sit down with the stakeholders to realize that Nigerians are really clamoring for help. The soul of Nigeria is absolutely in penury, given that subsidy, given that energy problem we are having today. So this is the problem we have. The country has to come together. There should be a consumer conference, a conference that will sit down to make sure that starting from now on, we don't have leaders that will come in and take decisions without thinking about the stakeholders, without thinking about the poor of the poor. And that's why we are having what we're having today. People are pleading for food because the hunger is too much. The president shouldn't be deaf about this issue. It's obvious that people are dying. Visit hospitals. I have done a little campaign for the past 1 month about free medical care. I have gone around healthcare centers. People don't even have money to access health because of the cost of energy, which has made everything inflated. This is my problem with the government today.
You've raised critical concerns there, and I believe, Abraham, what do you have to say, or what are your questions for Dr. Chinoso?
Doctor, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I really appreciate you for coming around this morning.
Okay.
And I want to ask a question. How do we get out of this issue of stampede? Keep happening all over the nation, not just in Abuja, not just in Anambra. It's all over the nation. Anywhere you see they are giving foodstuff or stipends or palliatives. It happens not just this time. We've seen it even at the custom yard in Lagos. We've had it so many places. So what is the real issue? What do we do? What should the federal government do? What should the state government do? Because what we have today, all the state government collect money like every month as the Federal Executive Council meeting. They get so much money. But why is it this? Why can't they say, okay, today let's take care of our state? Because what is happening today is an eyesore. What do we do? What can you say about it?
First of all, your question shows that you are a technocrat. You understand that what we need is solution. And that solution must begin with the state government. That is a very beautiful perspective. But let me give you the solution. There are 5 areas we can solve this challenge. First of all, the question I want to ask, I want to interrogate you. The victims of this stampede, the one in Ibadan, children, the one in Anambra, women, the one in Amaitama here, women. You can see that the victims are always the weaker sex, women. I don't mean to disrespect women. Now, what does that show? It's showing that first, women poverty is at its peak in Nigeria today. Women poverty is at its peak. 2, it shows you that child poverty in Nigeria is very high. For children to be going to Samba to get a carton of Indomie or rice. Tell them that they don't have parents who are able to control them. Now, this is the first solution I'm providing. Number one, any organization, charity organization, government organization, NGO, any form of organization in Nigeria that wants to offer any form of charity to our people should do what we call gender-based charity. Gender-based charity means when you want to do charity, you go and do a demographic study, 2-3 days. That location you want to do it. Study the environment. Divide it into men and women. Focus on men. Give to men, gather the men in certain population. If you're going to use a stadium, set up carriage like, let's say, 10,000 people, you have at least 3,000 to reduce any form of crowding. Because the problem we have is poor crowd management. Give to the men. Let the men go to their families and share with their families. Then, if you want to do to women, you count it. There should be numbers. We are only attending to so and so number. 1,000 should be enough. Give to the women. When you separate this like this, you hardly see men stampeding on men. The number two solution is this. There must be enough security, civil defense, military, police involved in any form of sharing. Any form of sharing. The number three, when you get to this demographic, it pay marketers, pay people that will collect data. Ensure that you are not supposed to give it through food stuff. Do through cash transfers. Transfer to these people in those locations. Transfer money to them, to their accounts. To their accounts. Then number four, I am telling you this. Most of the women in Nigeria today, this is a festive period, most of them are sick. Most of them don't have skills. Most of them don't have jobs. I know they need food too. What should have been done was to organize sections, training sections for these women. In those sections, you give them money in their account for them to open a job or open a business. Apply a business. Such money you transfer to them, then you can help them to say this one is for your food in the account, this one is for your business. That bag of rice that is going to 120,000, 100,000 naira, we are giving you 150 for you and your children. Take this to start a small business and take this to buy some food. What are we doing? You are reducing crowding. In 2013, it happened in India where they are gathered in a temple somewhere in New Delhi. A lot of people were stampeded and they died. It has happened in several locations. It's not only peculiar to Nigeria. Wherever there is overpopulation. So what did India do? They began to reduce crowding when they want to do sharing. What they started doing is to use cashless system, foodless system. The same money you give to them in their account to start a business or to start buy the food is same food stuff. Let our people stop show. Then number five, any organization that want to share money in any vicinity whatsoever must endeavor, this is very, very crucial, that he uses the mosque. Use the mosque. And if you want to use the church, make sure there is security in that church, enough security, because you know that there are certain locations like religious organizations that they know these people that need it more and they know how to deliver it to them directly. Do not do crowding, deliver it to them. We have never recorded situation whereby churches collect palliatives and they eat it. Just like state governors did. So let's use them, but let us make sure that we deploy enough security within the vicinity of any sharing. This will reduce stampede, it will reduce death, it will also reduce the issue of dissatisfaction from those who we are giving things for. I don't know if I'm clear.
Yes, Doctor. Indeed, you are clear, and I'm happy that you were able to state out clearly the modus operandi that should be adopted when philanthropists wants to give out something back to the community. And but one key aspect of all this is that you've actually break it down into a more simpler format. That look, in Nigeria today we have so much of women poverty. That's number one. And then we have also so much of child poverty, which is number two. But even the male are also suffering. Because just recently, if you remember the time of Abamoro, or today, you discover that so many agencies of government or even private parastatals, they don't even call for job interview anymore as they used to do in the past. Because of what? The same issue of stampede. So probably maybe that aspect is not as frequent as we used to have it, but the issue still remains that the cost of food and services has actually skyrocketed. So in this particular situation, when somebody has intention of giving back to the society, you've called for good planning. But sometimes this good planning also comes with its own responsibility. So in this particular case, who should be responsible whenever issues like this or whenever happenings like this takes place?
The person is, see, so for example, they arrested the former, the ex-wife of the Oni. She is not the person to be arrested. We have state security apparatus. When there's a gathering like this, that's why I keep advocating for police patrol in every street in Nigeria. There shall be at least 3 police officers patrolling. We need to robustify our police system. We need to make it more robust, make it much more comprehensive. The police don't have enough personnel, they don't have enough infrastructure, they don't have enough technology. They don't even have enough CCTV to monitor the streets like they are doing in China, like they do in Singapore, and in places like South Korea. These are Asia's economies growing, and you can't do it without security. The security apparatus, the security system is porous, is poor, it is very, very flashy. That's why we're having this issue. The state, who is the TPO of that environment? When you saw a gathering like that, you should, without being invited, you deploy your people. Get involved in what is happening, because such a gathering, there could be an explosion, there could be death. Are you with me? There should be ambulances in such occasions. Why we blame the organizer for not involving security enough? But the security system, there should be that business in every location. We should find out what is happening. When a crowd of 150, 500, 200 is there, you know that could be a crime. We call it safety initiative. You involve safety, find out what to do. Because prevention is better than cure. Our police system don't work on preventative intervention. We always allow something to happen before we intervene. So we should have been able to come in the location, find out, discuss with these who are organizing it, and make sure that they have enough security, enough civil defense, enough army around, enough police around to ensure even the people who came for the program are all safe. This is crucial. I remember in London, there was a conference that was organized by Christ Embassy. As soon as the O2 Arena was filled up, the police went on a helicopter on the air, the whole of UK, and now go back to your home. They brought the infra and people started going back home. Because they know that if the crowd is beyond capacity, it's above the capacity of that environment, that could be death, that could be stampede, that could be a crime, that could be an insecurity problem. This is what governments do. This is what security people do. I heard the minister yesterday was saying that the government, President Politics reforms. But what happened? That is insensitive. It is the reforms that have caused this stampede. Reforms that are not properly organized. Before you reform the energy sector, you reform the security sector. You reform the agricultural sector. You reform the transport sector. For example, there was a young man who was an actor that died a few months ago on the sea in Anambra, Wasaba. The one they call a junior pope. It's a security problem. There should be somebody that will have told them, you cannot climb on this boat without a life jacket. You cannot share this food without proper security. This is the thing they do abroad. There should be a security personnel that should have been sacked after the event. There should be a security personnel in Abuja that should have been sacked in my demand for what happened. There should be someone in Abuja that should take a fall. Once there's a crowd like that, what should you do? You investigate it. You'll be there to make sure that people are safe. The job of the police is to safeguard our people. The job of the system is to make sure our people are healthy, our people are well fed. When there is a break in such a responsibility, in such an obligation of government, government should first of all take the fall. It's the government that will take the fall, then the police will take the fall, and they will come together and do a proper analysis and make sure it doesn't repeat again forever.
Okay, Doctor, I remember earlier on you did state something very, very clear. You stated that we don't have enough of these security men or security personnel in the country. And could that be a major reason why we're actually experiencing this particular stampede?
That is, I don't think it's a reason. It's not the only reason. If you know that you don't have enough personnel to manage crowds, to manage the occasion, what do? You reduce the crowd. You called instead of arresting the only ex-wife, you would have called her a day before, 2 days for the program. Or during the program, this program has to stop. We have to, people have to leave. If they're up to 5,000 there, it's too overcrowded. Reduce to 1,000. Do it for 5 days. Share it with tax, with family names. You must not share everything as they go. Stop doing show. Nigerians like show. The enemy's wife like show. The Catholic Church and my family are doing show. Why must you share the whole thing at a time? Why can't you put it into reason? We have people that go abroad, they come back, they don't have anything, they don't reason. This is why our country is in shambles. That's why we're having a stampede. There are people who are ministers, they don't have any business being ministers. There are people who are in government, they don't have any business being in government. We are supposed to be thinking of our people first. Our people first. That was why Buhari is better than Tinubu.
You break another one here.
He didn't remove the subsidy. You have to think of people first to a level.
Doctor, it's like you are a fan of Buhari.
But I'm being very, very objective here.
But I want to. I think. Sorry.
Women are submitted to death because of hunger, and you still want to give subsidy.
But what, doctor,
why those who are alive are dying? Is that economic?
Doctor,
I sit down with these people and tell them what people are doing is evil. Qatar is still paying subsidy. Saudi Arabia is paying subsidy. Go to Brazil, subsidy. All the OPEC members are paying subsidy. Currently now, we have what we call OPEC Plus. OPEC Plus is a new organization that has involved Russia. And they're controlling the energy economy, controlling price to make sure America doesn't oversee and take charge of our energy system in the world. Currently, all these OPEC Plus members are all paying subsidy except Nigeria. What does that tell you? Why should we partner to IMF or World Bank? Why must we be a better economy? Why can't we look at be a people economy? Solve the 3 major problems of our people. 1 is energy. 2 is what God agro-revolution, solve it. People could not farm. Then number 3 is important to do security. Once we solve these 3 problems, every other thing in our system will blossom. Nigerians are hardworking. The Muslims are hardworking. The Christians are hardworking. Even those non-believers, they are very lovely people. Look at how they are being stampeded because of people who lead us without conscience. A people-centric system involves solving energy challenge first, solving the issue of agro, and then security. Every other thing will begin to grow. Look at the new budgets. What is the budget for agriculture? The budget is too miniature for a 200 million people. We keep saying this so that this government can wake up. Until you solve energy, solve agriculture, and solve security, Nigeria can never grow. Forget about it. We have to solve the energy problem, solve the agriculture problem, and solve security. Once we solve it, we can't even have Stampede. People will have food in their house. They are not even, they can't be able to, they won't be rushing for food. When you solve the agro problem, we have it. Throughout this year, I know what we did in agriculture. We don't have even enough fertilizer, enough seeds we don't have in our system. And you're telling me that you are living in a country that's an oil economy. Our people need to come out and cry for help this January. Until the president hears that we need to a new energy system, energy reform that involves subsidizing our food and our energy. We need subsidizing our agriculture, our energy and our plan. Then we need security system solved. Employ more people in the police, employ more people in the Navy, employ more people in the army that are focused on guiding our people directly. Not the rich. Throughout this period, you see some rich man who have about 5 police, 30 police, 1 rich person. But the poor in the village are unsecured. The poor who are being given food in the are unsecured. Why in the house of rich men, you see 10 policemen, 5 police in one convoy. That is not how a country that want to grow is. Let us say the truth to the devil, and nothing will happen.
Doctor, you spoke very well. But
Okay.
one thing I want to ask is that, should the government do the needful? Will all this stampede happen to Nigerians? Because what we are having today is the negligence from the government.
Yes.
Because if the people said, okay, bless from my own little way, I want to help, is it a problem? Is it a cause? Because all these people are doing, both the ex-wife of the Oni, the Catholic Church, and the Anambra, I don't know where that one is coming from. But if all this thing is, and they are blaming it on one person, then we should blame it on government that is not able to take care of our people. Because
Yes.
under the constitution, what the constitution said, the moment you take in as a president, as a governor, as a chairman, as a councillor, you promise your people that I will do all it takes. I will secure you both financially, both security, everything. But what we have today is nothing but foul. What we have from the government is nothing but a failed state. So what you are saying is, what is the place of government in this issue?
Listen to me. I admire Nigeria. I lived abroad. I lived in Europe. And when I came back here, my plan was to open a school. And do you know the process of opening a school in Nigeria here will take you to do over 7 different papers. Nigeria's problem is leadership. We don't have ease of doing business. We don't have ease of doing anything we want to do. Look at this issue of this insecurity. This is something we're having right now. If you take a look at what should have been done, the organizer of the program, the ones in Anambra State, the one in Ibadan, the one in, the organizer of the, if you look at it, they have access to government. They have access to police. They have access to the military or the army. They have security. They have security in most of their gates. But the problem we have is that we don't have access to proper organization systems. There should be a body in the system, in the government, that oversees organizations. Anything you want to do, there should be proper approval. But the issue that once you have such a body now, I'll say before you do such anything, go and get documentations, those people will come and handle it for you. They will start also involving corruption. I follow it. You start involving corruption. Common export, we had a conference recently at the villa. Inside the villa. It's a conference for non-exporters. Even the ministers came, senators came. After the conference, they were sharing bags. Nigerians rushed the bag. Educated men, educated women had to fear and stay one place. They dragged all the gifts. I sat down with the senator and with an ambassador. The ambassador was my friend of mine. We were watching. It was shocking. It was shocking. Nigerians brought that because apart from the issue of this government challenge, our people are very desperate for anything. Our poverty has reached beyond our education. So our people need more education. Government needs to offer more education. Our education system is bad. It needs to be changed. It's not about getting masters and a PA. We need to give our education a new rethought, a new rethink. Our people need a new mindset, a new thinking, and the government has to be the head that will lead it. A new thinking. I saw a day ago some councillors in Port Harcourt were like cards. Why are you giving councillors cards when you don't have one single agricultural section or program in your local government, and you are sharing cards? Our people are always not thinking the right way. So our leadership will begin to organize our people, give orientation programs every week, everywhere. Give people proper orientation, proper skill sets, begin to think well. But you know the challenge, you cannot give people what you don't have. And you cannot also give people a skill set when you are not practicing it. You cannot tell people to use CNG while you are driving diesel Lexus, diesel Land Cruiser. People, you can't leave people when you can't show them example. So we need an exemplary leadership that will begin to organize themselves, reduce cost of government, begin to think about people programs. For example, Nigeria is right for free healthcare for every soul. Everybody in Nigeria should have a free healthcare solution. Nigeria should have, like, in every state, in every government, you should have like food banks and welfare for every poor person. So when you want to give, go to the welfare, give it there. People will be arrested, you come and collect every day. It is easier. We should have welfare in Kaduna, in Kano. People will go there and collect food. It will clear Amagini on the road. It will clear this Stampede on the road. There should be welfare centers in different locations owned by government, where you can go in, register, and be sure that it's well monitored, so that those who are managing it will steal their own money or steal their own food that is for the poor.
Doctor, you've raised critical issues here, and I believe what you've actually analyzed, most especially what happened in the Aso Villa during your conference, is something I was actually discussing with my co-host this morning, that even in Saudi Arabia, Nigerians were seen gathered, and these are not average persons. For you to have money to travel out of the country, in Saudi Arabia, you see them gathered, and then when they start sharing, you discover that they will just hijack the whole package that is being shared to the populace in that particular country. And this is a thing of concern, and I'm happy that you've raised a critical issue here with respect to how important our educational system is. In this particular aspect, we see people actually going to school, not actually to improve in terms of their intellectual capacity, but just to actually get the certificate in order for them to be able to get one or two entry in any of these organizations, be it public or private sector, or probably to use it as clearance, not actually for them to be able to imbibe what they've been taught. So in this particular case also, you've also raised so many issues about how the budget is being spent. And one aspect you raised concern about is that priority, or let me say priorities, were not given to the energy sector and that of food. That's the agricultural sector. Priority were actually given to the defense, the health, and then education. But many will question, and then many will actually raise questions, that in a country where inflation has already skyrocketed, is this budget the best that we can offer to the citizens?
It is not. It is not the best. The budget we have, this estimate we are working on, this budget I have read, I have gone through the budget. The allocations are not properly done. Are you with me?
Yes.
The first area the government should budget on is, like I said, energy. There should be budget on energy. Energy is more important than defense. When you have no energy, what are you going to secure? It's important the budget on energy. Cut out 20% from everywhere, put on energy, and bring down the energy, the subsidy. That's the most important thing. I don't understand why this government cannot think. As soon as the energy is reduced to a fuel of 150 per liter, what happens? The economy will begin to breathe. The investors will begin to come. Then the crime will reduce. Crime has increased because of cost of food, cost of energy, cost of everything. Energy should be the first important. The second is agriculture before you get into defense. Once our energy sector, because we run on petrodollar, is a petro-dollarized economy where our source of import, our dollar foreign exchange is crude oil, about 2 million barrels a day. Now, invest in energy. Let's take it to 4 million to 5 million barrels a day. Let's bring down the cost of refining and make it less 100 to 150 naira. If you make me a president today, that's the first thing I'm going to do. That budget is too. I don't think it's a mature budget. Number two, agro-revolution. This is Thailand don't have oil. Most economies in Asia don't depend on oil. They depend on processing of agricultural products. The country needs to process its agricultural products. We need to invest in agriculture. We need to have a millet zone in Katsina, ginger zone in Kaduna, granite zone in Jigawa. We'll have a cassava zone in places like Ogun State. We'll have a cocoa zone in places like Ibadan. We should have invest in agro-revolution, putting at least 10 trillion in agriculture. By the end of the budget year 2025, Nigeria will be breathing with inspectors employ a youth corps should be inspectors on each farm. The whole country will start breathing. Rice will drop from 800,000 naira to 20,000 naira.
Doctor, it's very nice, very good having you on this show, and we look forward to having you more and more anytime we call. We are so happy and we appreciate your time.
Doctor, I don't know if you can hear my colleague here. I don't know. Can you hear us? Hello, doctor. I think we've run.
Yes.
Probably there's a network issue
Yes.
he may be facing this morning, and I'm happy he was able to set out the issues very clear that the government should focus more on energy
Yes.
and agriculture,
Very
and
well.
that way you can be able to help the society or the country at large. Every other thing will fall into place.
Because when I saw the budget, I felt there's something the government is trying to do. If you look at the statistics there,
yes,
I don't think we need anything on security.
no, we do need
We do need,
security is daily.
but what we're saying is that this amount you have put in on security is uncalled for. All we need to do is, we know without security the farmers cannot go to the farm,
Yes.
which is true, but at the same time you need to take care of the people.
Agriculture should be among
agriculture should be here, but we are
one of
not
the
seeing any of those.
area, one of the
Because now-
prioritized ministry.
Yes.
And the funny thing is that we have in this agriculture, we have a minister of state.
Yes.
We have the substantive minister of agriculture,
course.
and we also have the minister of livestock development.
Good.
So that should be able to subsume into a very huge amount.
Look at the infrastructure. What are we looking
So many.
at?
In short, our next guest is someone who is an agriculturalist and also a soil scientist, and he just returned to the country recently, and he'll be telling us more. Because even as at yesterday, when we had conversation with him, he was supposed to be, he will be on his way to Kadawa. Kadawa is one of the area in Kano State where you see huge harvest when it comes to agricultural produce, and if you want it cheap, Kadawa is one of the best locations for it. Yes, especially for those who reside close to Kano or Kano State itself. So we'll be on a very short break, and when we return, we'll be joining our second guest in person of no, before the break, I think we'll be going for a newspaper review before the break. Apologies for that breach in communication, but then still on this particular issue, this morning our focus will be on key major dailies, and number one on the list is the Daily Trust, and on the front page of the Daily Trust, so many issues, just like we've actually conversed, actually takes place, and there's this Stampede killed 213 Nigerians in 11 years. That's a very huge one. For Stampede alone to be able to take the number of these persons, it tells us more about ourselves, that we actually don't care about the livelihood of Nigerians.
Because if you look at the number of years, I don't think we've learned anything. I don't think the government learned anything, because this is a daily or a yearly occurrence. Every festive period, you will see this kind of thing happening, because the people are not fed well. The people that you promised to take care of, you left them to their own peril. You leave them to their own, they should go and do it themselves, because you have gotten to the government and you don't take people's life serious. What we have in other countries, where the country that we imbibed or we study their type of democracy, like the Americans, you don't see this kind of things coming up. So it's uncalled for. It's uncalled for. So we want to call on the government. It's not just to give us these things on the dailies. What we should have today is, Nigerians need to have a government that think about her people, a government that is ready to do the needful. Because without this, it's unfortunate It's unfortunate for a country to keep losing her people, the people that you promised to take care of, the people that you said you're going to protect and safeguard, and now you leave them at their own mercy.
So now, if you look at that same newspaper, something funny just reflecting there.
Okay.
If you remember, the president actually, or the federal government, scrapped the Ministry of Niger Delta
Good,
and
good.
also Ministry of Sport. And
Yes,
Ministry of
please.
Sport, now we have Nigerian Sport Commission,
Yes,
or the
please.
National Sport Commission,
Yes,
as the case
please.
may be.
Yes, please.
And then for that of the Ministry of Niger Delta, we have a regional minister, I think,
Yes,
something like
please.
that, still headed by the former Minister of Niger, the former Minister of Power, no,
Yes.
Niger Delta, I think,
Yes.
in person of Momo. But if you look at this particular 2025 budget, Daily Trust reflected that in that same budget, you still have Ministry of Niger Delta and Ministry of Sport. So is that what actually happened?
Yes, that should tell you.
Is it that they have actually forgotten the decision they took in terms of merging these ministries?
They didn't forget, but they take Nigerians to be so dull that they don't take care, they don't see all these things. Thank God that CISLAC is one organization that I so much respect for. You see, for them to be able to check this thing, that is why we said all this budget, Nigerians should go through it. The civil society should also study it. Don't just leave it at the hands of the government. We are the government. The media should also study this Nigerian budget. Don't just leave it at their hands, because these are some of the things that you think they didn't take it, or they didn't forget about it. They know that this Niger Delta, this sport ministry is scrapped, but they don't know that Nigerians will go back and look at it carefully. So we want to thank 6 lakh for this observation. We want to see more of it, because there are a lot of things that is hiding under the carpet.
And I remember the son of former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, son, the one in House of Rep, Bello.
Yes.
Bello El-Rufai
Bello,
stated
yes.
it very clear.
He said
that
even
so
spoon,
much
that
of the previous
yes.
year are actually reflected in this
Yes,
year. So you start questioning yourself about the transparency of the government and even that of the National Assembly. They have a key role to play in this particular aspect. And on the left and on the left part of this particular daily, you see federal government lift ban on mining exploration activities in Zamfara. 5 years after, that's right from during the period of President Muhammadu Buhari, former President Muhammadu Buhari, there was a ban on the issue of mining in that particular state because of the issue of insecurity and also lead poisoning in that particular area. And now the federal government has actually raised the ban. What do you think would have triggered this particular action?
Yes, if you look at what happened actually in Zamfara, Sokoto and the rest, they use it against the people. Most of these things you see happening in Zamfara is uncalled for, because if they should put a very good mining sector there, if they should have a body that is overseeing this thing, you should be able to take care of the people. But what we keep having is you always have deaths occurring at every point in time. So for the government to lift the ban, I think they've gotten it right.
Okay, let us quickly move to the next on the line, and that's the blueprint. And on the blueprint this morning, you see the federal government on mockery caution against politicizing incident. Shetima assures support. I believe that's as a result of
The Stampede.
The Stampede. Federal government confirms 72 dead. 20, is it 72 or 22 dead in Anambra? Is it Buhari wife? Also, not very visible there, but then still. Wiki, I think, raised issues. I believe that would be that of Abuja. So many Nigerians are actually concerned.
Then if you look at this, the other side, where
the right-hand corner.
Yes, he said the northern Christian leaders
back tax reform bills
says it's biblical.
Yes.
Yes, because
Tax,
even Jesus Christ paid tax.
Push for tax.
Yes, because at every point in time he will tell you that you should go and
pay your
tax. And he said, pay what is due to God
and pay what is
to Caesar. Yes, what to Caesar, give to Caesar. So what the Christians are saying, or the
northern Christians are saying,
it's right, because you need to face it squarely. the tax reform should come in place, because we have a lot. Even just look at a small local government here like Amag. If you know how much they recover from taxes, you'll be surprised. So for this thing, we call on the government, show it to the people, tell the people how this tax will work for them, and people will carefully, and they will go for it. We don't just tell them that you just bring it open, bring it on the table. Let Nigerians see the benefit of this tax, what the tax will do for them. You stop the fuel subsidy, and now you are talking about the tax. Give Nigerians the lowdowns. What do you want to achieve from it? What will Nigerians enjoy from it? And that is all.
Indeed, it's very, very important. Transparency will actually help Nigerians also to be able to do the needful when it comes to tax
Yes.
paying. And let us quickly move to the Punch this morning. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, it says states list tough conditions for palliative distribution. I remember the governors of Lagos State did actually mention it, that look, you can't just put up the issue of palliative just because you have the money or the means. There must be orderliness in doing that, and there are conditions attached on how you go about it in the state, that is in Lagos State. And I believe many governors are actually taking lessons from what is happening across, from Abuja to Anambra, and even that of Ibadan. So let us also look at this particular Punch. And on that same front page of the Punch newspaper, you see travelers battle on handing price hikes ahead of the Christmas celebration. That's from the Minister of Finance on the left-hand corner of the Punch. So you expect December has always been, or let me say the Ember month has always been a month for increasing goods and services.
But thank God we are not seeing the queues. For the queue, I think is not much like what we used to see in the former. So people must travel. You will not stop people from traveling. You will not stop people from going to do this celebration with their family and friends. All we need is just to protect these people. Those that will travel will definitely travel for the Christmas. People would like to go. There are some people that they don't go back to their place of bed until this kind of holidays, whether it's Salah or Christmas. So all we need is protect these people, make the traveling easier for them, and everybody is ready to take care of themselves.
So this is how far we can go this morning on the dailies this morning. Now we have other ones, but then time wouldn't permit us to go through them, like the leadership newspaper, the Vanguard. These are newspapers that we will not be actually looking at this morning. But then we'll be going on a very short break, and when we resume, or when we return from that break, we'll be having Dr. Sani joining us this morning in terms of looking at aspect of the issue of food insecurity in the country, and how it is also affecting the stampedes that we are experiencing, or that we experienced in last week. So Sani will be joining us this morning. Sani just will join us from Kaduna State this morning before he leaves to Kano. So let's go for this. We'll be having Comrade Sani Idris joining us from his location. Welcome back from that break. And just before the break, we did inform you that we'll be joined by Comrade Sani Idris, who will be joining us from Kaduna State this morning. And so much we've discussed about the issue of the national, or let me say the stampede that took place in Ibadan, Anambra, and Abuja. Sani, good morning and welcome to the P&B Morning Show. It's nice having you on this particular program today. And so much happened last week. We recorded over 50 deaths as a result of Stampede. And what's your take, please?
Good morning.
Good morning. Please, you can go ahead.
Good. I hope you can hear me very clear.
Yes, we can hear you very clear.
And that is very great. First of all, I would like to use this medium to convey the message of condolence to all Nigerians, and in particular to the families of the deceased, and also to the President of Nigeria, because it is a great loss that we recorded this very unfortunate event at the time when Christmas is closely by the corner. It is very unfortunate, and I therefore register my condolence as a Nigerian.
That's a very good one, Dr. Sani, this morning. Raising issues of condolence is very, very important, most especially at this particular point in time. And you've actually seen the statistics already, and you've noted all the major happenings as a result of this. So many people have actually attached it to hunger. And what's your take on this particular issue?
Well, what I can say is that there is no two way about it. It is a naked truth, and there is really an indication of hunger manifestation in the country. However, I want to make some clarification, especially regarding the insinuation that this, hunger manifestation may be as a result of food scarcity or food unavailability in the country. So first of all, I want us to understand the difference between these two terms. One, there is food scarcity, and two, there is food, accessibility or food inaccessibility. For me, I can, confidently say that it is more a problem of food accessibility rather than food availability. Why? Because if you look at the trend and the pattern of, production system in Nigeria, especially within, the average period of, within the time scale of, let's say, 10 years, we cannot say that there is food scarcity in the nation. However, it is very evident and very clear that really there is evidence of, food accessibility. Many Nigerians cannot be able to access food stuff that they can use to feed their families. So the point I want to make is that while food scarcity is majorly caused by climatic and edaphic factors, in which case you have, like, for the climate factors, a situation whereby you have rain or a low or excessive rainfall, the issue of increased temperature, which may sometimes escalate and lead to disaster manifestations, which we normally see, like drought and flooding. This may really considerably affect food production output. The second factor, which I said is a edaphic factor. In this case, you may have problems like considerable declination in terms of physical quality and the fertility of the soil. You may have a problem of reduction of the overall productivity of the soil. In that case, the soil cannot be able to support optimum production, thereby leading to huge food supply deficit in the country. The third factor that may play a role under edaphic factor, the third element rather, may be land degradation, in which case you may have problems like, erosion, like gully erosion, landslide, and, some others. These two factors may combine, may in combination or as individual factors lead to huge production deficit. And that can be detected, in terms of the overall food production output that we have at farm level, which can be sensed or also detected, in the reduced supply of markets, foodstuffs in our markets. But you can agree with me that in Nigeria today, you go to many, village markets, suburb markets, and even city markets. Throughout the year, you have optimal supply of various foodstuffs, especially the staples, let's say the rice, grains, the maize, and some others. You have them throughout the year in the market. So the issue of hunger can hardly be attributed to the problem of food scarcity in the nation. Rather, it can be attributed to food accessibility, which is a function of food production and also the economic stability or economic power of the citizens. Thank you.
You've stated it very, very clear, and I'm very, very glad that you're able to distinguish between food scarcity and also food inaccessibility. So in this particular case, you've made it very, very clear. Yes, to an extent, we can actually say that both of them might actually be in play. But the issue of food scarcity may not, based on the items you've raised, may not actually be the major problem here. It may be a minor problem because I understand that this year alone, the rainfall pattern actually reduced, and many farmers couldn't actually go back to their farm to be able to continue cultivation. But then you've actually raised a very, very critical issue here, that the major problem we are having is food inaccessibility.
Yes.
So in this particular case, you also raised the issue of food production and also the purchasing power of Nigerians. So in this particular case, if the food production is available, or are you saying that food production is not available in general?
Can you come back again, please?
Do we have enough food first before we even talk about the accessibility here? Are you stating that we have enough food and then Nigerians cannot actually access it based on their purchasing power?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. As I rightly mentioned, is all these factors that we have mentioned, we cannot categorically say that you may have a particular shift, you may have a particular changes in weather, like that of rainfall that you mentioned, but it is not necessary that may affect the overall production output. It may really affect most particularly what you call the cropping calendar. It may lead to a shift in the production season a little bit, but may not lead to the huge decline in the overall productivity or production that we may have. So what I am saying in essence is that yes, we have food availability. Go to any market in any village, you will see rice brought, you will see maize, you will see, and not at that very even high price if you compare it with the production cost. Let me cite an example. After the production, the production of this year, the farm get price of rice, especially in the northwest axis, ranges between 54 to 56,000 naira per bag of paddy rice. So we cannot say that this is, too high considering the production costs. And up till now, about 2 months ago, after the production, I think you only have an increase of 2,000, which is also showing that, the price is not skyrocketing. However, because of the interplay of economic and social factors, many citizens can still not afford to buy these foodstuffs that are available in our various markets and even in the various shops in our areas close to our homes. They cannot buy it to feed their families. So this is the major problem that is creating this huge gap that is throwing people into this kind of situation and that lead to this unfortunate chaos, which result in the loss of, many precious lives.
Doc, comrade, I want to appreciate you. You have given us a very good looking at what will happen with the agriculture if it's taken care of. But one thing I want to ask is, being an agriculturist, what do you think if the government, both in the federal and state, should do it like, okay, let's go into the irrigation farming very well? What will the outcome be?
Well, actually, we have been advocating for increased financial commitment to agriculture because we know that historically, the agriculture is the backbone of the Nigerian's economy. And until today, that position of agriculture has not shifted. Why? Because agriculture contributes immensely to the GDP of Nigeria and is also responsible for providing, gainful employment to huge majority of Nigerians. More than 70% of Nigerians are employed through agricultural production systems. So it is really a sector that requires, adequate financial commitment by all tiers of government. Of course, we have begun to see, some level of commitment at different levels of government, but much more need to be done. If based on as an advocacy or as an advice, we always advise government to put all required mechanisms to, one, make sure that Nigeria is able to optimally, put its land under production, especially for irrigation purposes. Because irrigation has to complement what we normally get from rain, for system of production. That will help us to have like at least 2 seasons of production per year. We do it during the dry season under irrigation, and we do it during, the rain time. So that will make sure that there is no gap in terms of the production and food supply to the people in Nigeria. Second, we always advocate that for, government interventions. Let government always try to involve, institutions and agencies as third parties when they are trying to embark on agricultural intervention programs. Because most at times, if you involve politicians, such political, problems set in, whereby these programs, are not implemented effectively and efficiently, so that the outcome is not that very much desirable. But in a situation whereby a particular government design a particular program, but now invite or involve, institutes and agencies as third party and give them a free hand to implement or to execute that project, I am assuring Nigerians that the implementation outcome will be very excellent and the result will be, very excellent, and that will translate to greater economy and to improve productivity in Nigeria.
Doctor, comrade, earlier on, I remember you stated that despite the fact that Nigerians cannot purchase enough of this particular food stuff, still the increment is still minimal. But in this particular case, will you juxtapose it between this year at this particular point in time to that of last year. Don't you think there is a serious increase of the cost of food itself in the country? And secondly, you said the government has actually been doing more, and you needed them to actually do more. But are you not concerned about the place of agriculture in the budget? It is not among the first four prioritized ministry. And if you remember, we have a Ministry of Livestock now, we have the Ministry of State for Agriculture, and we have the substantive Minister for Agriculture.
Yes, of course. Addressing the first question, of course, there is an increase in terms of the price compared to the last year, and I think the increase in price, may not be unconnected with the increase, in the production costs, because there is a high increase of what do you call it, the fertilizer input, as well as all other production input that a farmer required to produce, to produce a particular hectare. So that now translated to the overall increase in the production cost, which must now translate, or which must manifest in the farm gate price of all the staple food that we produce. However, the most important thing is that the government was not able to, one, either subsidize these critical inputs like fertilizer and herbicides, that will reduce the cost of production, which will now reduce the yield, which will now reduce the price, the farm gate price of each of these staple crops that we produce in the country, which will translate to the increased purchasing power of all Nigerian citizens. Therefore, there is need for government to critically look into that. In all advanced nations, government come in, especially in agriculture, to subsidize some critical input, so that farmers will produce at low cost, which will now, lead to much more involvement in the farming activity, and which will lead to the reduced, price of the food stuff that we buy in the market. Secondly, you talk about the budgetary allocation to agriculture. Yes, we always advocate for increase, in budgetary allocation to agriculture, but that is not, the only way to go. In agriculture, we really need involvement of, investors. Investors need to come in. Unions used to come in, so that, agriculture is seen as an investment. Agriculture is seen as, as a profitable venture. So it is not only about budgetary allocation, but also providing a level ground whereby investors will see opportunities in agriculture, so that they can invest more land will be cultivated, and well-to-do individuals can also invest heavily in agriculture, so that we have increased food production in the country, that will even help us to export more, and that will also help our production line, marketing line, and also value addition shall to be well enhanced.
Comrade, thank you very much for your time. But why I'm emphasizing on this irrigation, we've seen it in the UAE, Egypt, and Ukraine. Most of these countries, their rains come like once or twice in 3 years, and they do so much in farming. Now we have states like Katsina, Sokoto, and Kano. Won't we have a situation whereby the governors of this state will say, let's travel, or let's send our commissioners of agriculture to go and study how the people or how the countries who are in irrigation farming, like in the UAE, the Egypt. When you go there, they hardly have rainfalls, but what they produce will take care of a whole state. So what are you people doing as an organization?
Doctor, please, we just have just 1 minute for that particular question as we are running up this particular program now. So you can just respond in 1 minute, please.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very important question that you raised. But then I want to assure you that we don't lack in expertise in Nigeria. Actually, I don't believe that, especially as far as agriculture is concerned, we do not lack expertise. It is not all. It is not about sending commissioners and some officials to oversee. No, we have the expertise. It's about engagement and assigning responsibilities. So if government is serious about enhancing agriculture, it doesn't need to send anybody outside. We have institutions that have the various mandates to to play a role in improving different subsectors that will result in increased productivity per unit area. So what we are saying is that
thank you so much, Doctor. Unfortunately, we have run out of time.
Partnership and assignment of responsibilities to the organizations and institutions that have the mandate to do that particular work.
Thank you so much.
For instance, we have IAR, Institute for Agricultural Research. This institute has been doing greatly well right during the colonial era up to date. So
thank you so much, Comrade Sani Idris.
Need to,
I understand. Thank you so much, Comrade Sani Idris.
Adequate collaboration with this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Comrade Sani Idris, for making sure that your thought is well played out, and we are appreciating your concern about what the agri sector can do for the nation. It is not yet time for us to say we are looking elsewhere. We have the manpower, and we've seen what IART is doing, the Institute for Agricultural Research, and that of Zaria, and that of Ibadan. And then we have NAPRI, we have NAR, and there's so many of these particular institutes for research purposes.
With all these research places, we still have hunger, we still have Stampede.
No. That's why the doctor made it very clear that what we have is not food insecurity.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not food scarcity. What we have is food inaccessibility. And I did actually agree with him. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Comrade Sani. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Comrade Sani Idris, for joining us this morning. Comrade Sani Idris is an agric-climatologist and also an agricultural expert in Zaria, Ahmadu Bello University. Thank you so much once more for joining us on this particular program. This is where we'll be drawing our curtain for today's edition of the P&B Morning Show. And I hope you did enjoy from both speakers on this particular issue of the Stampede, coming from different perspectives. But one thing is very, very clear. The government needs to do more in terms of addressing our needs. My name is Isanu, and my host,
Abraham Abba. It's nice having this morning with you.
Thank you. And have a wonderful day for this week. And we hope and pray that Nigerians have beautiful Christmas celebrations.